Have you ever stood over the ball and not known how to begin the backswing? It could be that your body seems really tense and you don't even know how to begin to make the club move back. Your head might be full of so many different swing thoughts, you don't know which one to focus on, you still haven't decided when you're standing over the ball. All this for a movement that's going to take you between, say, 1 and 1.2 seconds. Very fast. Unless your swing's a little bit slower than that, it's a very short period of time. Let's have a look at the things that you perhaps can do to avoid those sorts of things happening. Hi, I'm Peter Knight and I've created this channel, Peter Knight Golf, to help you play the best golf you can. And today we're going to look at getting unstuck at address. So how can you actually begin the backswing? So first thing we're going to look at is, or recognize, is that when you move, when you swing the golf club, it's much easier to start from a place where you already have some movement going on. When you're standing over the ball and you're completely still and static, it's actually very hard to create movement. It's a lot easier to create movement when there's already some existing. So the first thing we want to have a look at is what's known as the waggle. It's just small movements that just keep parts of your body moving or your entire body moving at the start of the swing. Now there's different ways that we can go about creating this movement. The most common, as in the most obvious to see, is what I'm doing here now. So when I'm setting myself up, I'm shuffling my feet from foot to foot, shifting pressure so my entire body's moving. At the same time, I'm also allowing very light movements with my wrists, so the club actually keeps moving. Now essentially that sort of combines two movements that players will make either combined or individually. The reason I started with that one, that's what I do. I've been doing that for a long time, and it certainly helps to avoid standing over the ball and becoming quite stuck over the ball. So different types of movements. First of all, it could be just moving my arms backwards and forwards, so the club's just resting on the ground. It could be shuffling my feet. It could be allowing the club to move backwards and forwards. It might even be rehearsing sort of part of the swing. I can't keep my feet still. I'm so used to moving my own feet in the swing. But that's what sort of keeps me going. So the waggle's a very good place to start. If you don't do it, if you find that you're stuck standing over the ball, then just get moving just a little bit, and that'll start to make it a lot easier. So that's the first thing. The second thing is having this checklist of thoughts going through your head just before you start to swing. And often that'll go with the body standing over the ball, and it's almost like you physically freeze, you can't move because you're running this checklist of things through your head. Now, when you're in a situation where you're, say, having lessons at the time, developing your game, that's all really very good and helpful. What we need to do though, especially when you get to the golf course, is look at what the differences are between when you're practicing and when you're playing. So if we were to define practicing, so practicing is about me, it's about what I'm doing. My outcome is that I can strike the ball better. So I can swing the club better, move better, and hit better shots. Now, of course, I need to take those to the golf course, but I don't want to have all of those thoughts going on the golf course. So playing is more a target orientation. So I'm tuned into where I want the ball to go without getting stuck on how necessarily I'm going to do that. There is one class of thought, however, that is absolutely okay to have when you're setting up and about to play a shot. And that is any thoughts that are around the dynamics of the movement. So by that I mean tempo, which is how quickly or how slowly am I going to swing the club. So it's overall speed. Rhythm. So when I swing the club back and through, I'm looking to have a movement, particularly with a full swing, that sort of has a 3-1 rhythm. What I mean by that is my backswing is going to be, say, 3 times longer in time than it is from my start of my downswing to impact. So I might have this sense of 1, 2, 3, 1. So I'm getting that, again, it's a global feel. It might be to do with balance. So how's my balance during the swing? I can sense my balance is very centered. Even though I've got pressure shifting from foot to foot, my balance is centered. So they're global feels. They're not necessarily hard technical thoughts. So they're thoughts that I can create and maintain without thinking about things like, where is my club, how's it positioned and oriented during the swing, and those types of things, which are much more a hard technical thought. The third thing is what I'm going to do before I start to walk toward the ball. So I'm standing back behind the ball. Now when I'm back here, my objective is to make sure that I'm absolutely clear on where I want to hit the ball. I've already decided on the club I'm using. Then as I move toward the ball, I'm committed to playing that shot. Now, commitment sounds, oh, well, that's all well and good when you're really confident, but what about me? I'm a beginning golfer, I'm a golfer struggling to break 100, so I don't have the same confidence that a much more accomplished player would have. However, you can still commit to the shot. So you've decided that my shot to the target requires this club because that's how far I would normally hit this club on average. So I'm going to play this shot. My thoughts are relatively clear in that I'm going to hit the ball to that target, set myself up, and then go ahead and play my shot. So I'm not getting stuck standing over the ball thinking, oh, what about the hazard on my right? Or what about the bunkers close to the green on the left where the pin is? So I've already made those decisions. So my thinking is quite clear. So I've determined where I want to hit the ball, how I'm going to hit it. Now my job is just to execute with as free a mind as I can possibly have. The fourth thing, and this is also really quite critical, is how do I monitor how I feel? So when I'm standing back behind the ball, at this stage, I've made my decision on the club that I'm going to use, and I'm relatively calm. Now, notice what happens as you approach the ball. So it's very common that as you approach the ball, all of a sudden, the heart rate starts to increase, the doubts start to creep in, you can feel the body tensing up, and then so your emotional state changes quite a bit. So what we're going to do is we want to train the movement so that you can be as emotionally stable as you can for the shot. So I'm standing back here. As I approach the ball, I might monitor my breathing. So I'm breathing fairly calmly, not too shallow, but not too deep that I want to exaggerate the deep breath. But I'm just approaching the ball, looking at the target, and just trying to stay moving and reasonably calm as I set up. Now I can practice that and monitor how I'm feeling at the time. Now, of course, it's going to be very different when I get on the golf course, but I can still do the same thing. I can notice how am I feeling as I'm approaching the ball. First of all, can I do it in practice? Can I stand here on the range with the ball, no real consequence, and set up and play my shot? Then, can I do exactly the same thing? I'm on the golf course now, aiming at a target, and do the same thing. It does take some practice to become very good at that. So do practice those waggles. Keep your body moving. Be very clear on the shot that you're going to play and commit to it as much as you possibly can. Commitment sounds like it's something that where you're 100% committed to the shots. That's ideal. It's not necessarily achievable on every shot, and that can change according to your confidence. You know, one day your confidence is very high. You see the shot and it's like, I feel like I can play that shot. Next day, for whatever reason, you don't feel as confident. But so it's committing as much as you possibly can. When you swing the club, have just a global thought based around the dynamics. So we talked about things like your balance, timing, tempo, those sorts of things, rhythm to get you moving. In the comments below, let me know of anything that you've done to help you become unstuck when you're playing your shots.